They've got all this really nice yellow and striped color patterns, and this kind of looks like almost like jaguar print on there. Really interesting how as they get older they just almost turn a solid black color.
Hey dreamers, in this episode we got to talk to Sam Haught from Wild Florida here in Central Florida, and Sam has done something very special. He's come from a very corporate background to build his dream park with safari animals and then also local Florida animals as well. This was a really fun one, right, Joe?
The Disney of the Swamp, he calls it.
Yes.
And
yeah.
and very rightfully so. When pulling up, you see this long road with cows on both sides. I forgot that I was even in Central Florida. I was starting to think I was back home or in Texas somewhere. Yes. Or North Carolina, somewhere very not here. But when you get there, it's a very amazing atmosphere with lots of people, lots of staff, very clean environment, extremely clean environment actually.
Yeah.
For being this swamp thing that you would think like only swamp people would go to. I don't know, but it was an amazing time, and he was so generous to donate an entire half a day, pretty much a whole day, to us.
Yes, we are bringing you an inside look at Wild Florida, absolutely, for sure. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to go off the beaten path and maybe do something a little bit different while you're here visiting with your family, definitely check out Wild Florida. Come on the airboat rides and check out the animals, and make sure you tell them Living the Dream podcast sent you.
And watch out. I mean, this video, we're going to have lots of footage that I took from the airboat, from the wild park, and just lots of footage. You're not going to want to miss it. We play with the baby bobcats.
Yes.
And we pet a baby sloth.
It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. You're not going to want to miss the video on this one.
Hi, this is Mike Purcell, voice of the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. As we approach the Tomorrowland Transit Authority station, our Grand Circle tour is coming to an end, but not to a stop, because you're listening to the Living the Dream podcast with your hosts, Krista Joy from DisneyWays.com and Joe Pardo from HowToDream.co. Hold on tight, because today's journey leads to tomorrow's dream. And get ready for the Living the Dream podcast.
We want to thank Sharon Judy, who is a listener of Living the Dream podcast, and she's also one of our writers over at the blog. Sharon sent us her favorite Disney memory, and it says this: "My favorite is when we got a late Be Our Guest reservation and the park was closed, so me and Krista Joy got to take pictures in front of the castle with no people in them." Sharon says this is her most prized Disney memory. And I got to say, that was a really fun night. We got some great pictures in front of the castle in the evening, and it was a blast. Thank you, Sharon, so much for sending this in. We appreciate it.
And if you'd like to send your Disney memory to us, please send an email to thecrew@livingthedreampodcast.com.
It was fantastic. It's just really fun, and just looking around, and I just kept thinking, this is where I'm from, this is my home state, and we don't have beautiful mountains and prairies and all that, but we've got this beautiful water out here and the vegetation and the aquatic plants, and it's really, really pretty.
It's hard to beat a baby deer. They're about as cute as you can find out there. You guys can touch
He
them.
does have little ears. Yeah, you guys can
Very
touch
soft.
him. But there's his little ears.
As he gets older, the hair gets real wiry and tough. But right now, it's just really soft and cute.
Oh, it's adorable. Do they make any type of noises?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a weird baby cry when they try and weigh him. He starts going. I don't want to know my weight.
Okay, you see that guy? See where he's throwing it?
Oh boy. That little one just ran off the big one. I think that's a mom.
Oh. Little kittens. So Duchess is the little one, and Duke here is the larger one.
Duke is the boy. He thinks he's super cool.
Oh, cool.
So what a great habitat too.
Okay, so nothing feels better to a lemur than getting your armpit scratched. Oh. And Leo, watch, he'll switch arms for me here in a second. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yep. Gotta get both of them.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We are super excited today to be broadcasting live from Wild, Florida. And Wild, Florida is a family-run business, and they not only run airboat tours through the Florida Everglades, but they also have an ever-growing wildlife park. It's a wonderful, unique experience. You've got to come check it out. We are so excited to have Sam with us today, owner of Wild, Florida. And Joe has the first question for Sam.
So on the tour today, we saw a lot of animals, not just out on the lake/swamp, right? I was saying that properly. But even in your own, like, I don't know if you call it a zoo?
We prefer wildlife park.
Wildlife park, okay.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite animal? Because, I mean, every animal seemed to be your favorite. But
yeah, I sound like a little bit like a broken record walking through the park. But I would have to say my most favorite right now is the bobcat couple.
So, yeah, I mean, they're pretty newborn-ish, right?
Yep.
How old are they?
About 2 months old.
And their names?
Duke and Duchess.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And it was, I didn't get to play with them personally because I'm allergic to cats, and I didn't want to ruin my whole day just because of that. So yeah, I generally stay away from cats, but they were really cute to watch them play, together and all that.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're a lot like a house cat right now, and very playful, rambunctious, cruising around, fighting with each other, interacting with us, and really harmless. But in a couple of months, that playfulness will leave scars. So we'll have to be a little more careful next time you guys come out.
So this your wildlife. Well, I'm sorry, it was wildlife park. It is included with your ticket when you get an airboat ride.
Correct. Yeah, that's one of the things that makes us really unique in this market, and it makes us special because our airboat ride is priced the same as every other airboat tour in town, and there's lots of good ones out there. But the value add with our product is just off the charts because all of that park, which is about an hour-and-a-half experience, is free whenever you pay for our airboat ride. So we've really created a unique product where we're the only half-day airboat attraction in town. We're also the only airboat and wildlife park attraction in town. And anytime in Orlando, Kissimmee area that you can use that word only, it's a good thing because there's a lot of everything to do here.
There is, and the traffic speaks for itself around everywhere that you go.
Yeah.
Why don't you get into a little bit how you got to this point, because this is a 5 years in the making, and I gotta say, and me and my wife especially thought we're thinking a lot less when we were pulling up, or even before we got here, like we weren't sure what to expect. But the facility that you have and run here is phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing is to see people's expectations just get shattered as they pull into the parking lot and see what we've built out here, because it's a long ways and we really are in the middle of nowhere. And as you are coming out here further and further away from civilization, I think that your expectations continue to drop, probably at the rate that you leave civilization. And then at some point you get out of your car and you say, whoa, wait a minute, there's a lot going on out here. They've done a bunch. And that's really from the onset, we wanted to be much more than just an airboat company. And to provide an experience that families and groups and people of all ages can enjoy. So we needed to have some comforts along with the redneck flair that we have here in Central Florida. And when we started this operation, we searched for years for the right location to start running airboat rides. And that's kind of how the seed was planted, is that we got interested in airboats. And we looked in Seminole County, in Polk County, in Brevard County, and found some good spots, but nothing compared to the shores of Lake Cypress. This truly is remarkable. This is what Florida used to look like 1,000 years ago, and we were sold. Originally, this property was a fish camp, and there were about 57 pads where you could come down and park your trailer for the winter season, and we had all the Yankees and snowbirds coming down, and they would fish all day long and come back and camp out around their RV. It was a lot of fun. It was a great operation. Just didn't make any money. And so we had pretty much dedicated our full 15 acres to that RV park, and we were running airboats off of a little dirt strip off the front of our store, and that was making a lot of money. And so we initially went to the RVers and we said, hey, we need to raise the rent $50. And they said, if you raise the rent, we will leave. And the light bulb went on, and we said, hey, maybe they should leave. And we should convert the whole thing to tourism. And so the retention pond quickly became the alligator pond, and we built the fence and created this wildlife park. And about 2 years into owning it, we were off to the races with developing this park. And it's been really a fun experience, learning, first of all, how to be in the hospitality industry, and also how to run a wildlife park. And it's really become one of the things that identifies us with our customers is this park. It's taken on a life of its own, and we have hundreds of people a day that aren't necessarily interested in airboats that come out just to have an animal experience, and that's been really fun to see.
The animals are phenomenal, and they've got the exotic species, and then they've also got the native Floridian animals, and they're all so happy. Like, you can just tell they're all healthy, happy animals, and they are actually having a lot of great success with the breeding program here, and I think that has a lot to do with how happy they are. Can you tell us about some of the baby animals that you have right now?
Spring has been spring has been wonderful this year for us, and we've seen a bevy of babies born here. First of all, we had 2 baby lemurs that were born from our red ruff pair, and we feel very fortunate that we have these twins that were born, because they're one of the most endangered species on planet Earth, and most places are lucky to have just a couple of them, and we managed to have babies born. So we're really lucky there. Next was our 2-toed sloth. We have Guy and Anna, our mom and dad, and they produced our littlest Guy. And right now we're still waiting for a name on him. It's up for grabs. I think at this point we're thinking between George, because Georgetown is the capital of Guyana, Speedy, or Mario. There might be some other names in there, but soon we'll launch a voting contest. We also have a baby white-tailed deer, buck, fawn. We're really excited about him to eventually be the daddy of our deer herd. And then the cutest ones, and like I said, my favorite are the 2 baby bobcats, Duke and Duchess.
They are. They're adorable, and they entertain them. They have, the enclosures are very big, and you can just tell the animals are happy. It's really neat. And also, this park is amazingly clean. Like, you think of a zoo, and not always as clean as you would like, and this place is just immaculate. They've done a beautiful job. The landscaping, everything. It's very welcoming. Thanks. It's very, very nice. You can tell all the extra effort that goes into it, and the love, too. And this is a family business, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's the best part and the worst part.
Yeah.
I could attest to that with family businesses. So your airboats support up to, was it 16 people?
17 passengers, and then we have smaller ones that hold 6.
Oh, okay, and it's a little bit more money to get the 6, but it goes a little faster, doesn't it?
It's a little more sporty, a little more exciting on the smaller boats. But I recommend that for sure. If you're looking for an upgraded experience, the 6-passenger boats are a lot of fun.
It's not even that much more money. I think it was like $13 or something a person extra. Right. So it's definitely worth it. If you're willing to come out and do the airboat thing in the first place. The extra for a family experience is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And with the airboats, it starts from right away, because you were telling us about the boardwalk and how that makes you different from other airboat rides that you can get around town.
Correct. Yeah, when we started this operation, like I said, we were doing airboat rides off a little dirt strip in the front of the store, which is what people expect, and that's pretty normal, I think, for the experience. But we want to be different, and we didn't want to have to continue to call all the employees out to push the boats off when the water was low. So right from day one, we started building the dock, and it's one of the biggest, and we think one of the nicest docks in Central Florida. It goes out 600 feet into the swamp, and allows us to load any time of year and unload 4 boats at once.
I didn't even realize it was 600 feet. It didn't. I mean, it felt long, but it didn't feel that
9 laps
that long.
and it's a mile. And,
Wow.
We walk it a lot.
So, here you like right now we're actually in a facility that didn't exist just a year ago.
Yeah. This is brand new. This is our ballroom meeting space. We call it the Cypress Ballroom, and it will seat 200 adults. We cater a lot of events through here with a really fantastic buffet, and we have beer and wine, and really any sort of party, event, get together you can imagine. We'd love to host it here.
And the food is phenomenal. We got to have some a little bit earlier. I probably have some stuck in my teeth.
Yeah, me too. Right?
But it's phenomenal. You have your own chef on staff, and it's great.
Yeah, he's classically trained cordon bleu chef. He's the real deal. And when we first started serving food out here, it was more of a food truck operation, and we were kind of testing the waters to see if people would be interested in buying food. And we quickly found out that people definitely want to eat while they're out here in the middle of nowhere. And so we started serving some really interesting meals and some adventurous stuff like gator, frog legs, and catfish. But if you're, a little more timid, then we've got burgers and hot dogs and ice cream.
And the what was it? The smoothies we had were phenomenal. I loved it.
Slushy. We say that'll change your life.
It definitely tasted great. And then just to go back to the wildlife park, you have so many animals there, and it is such a welcoming environment. How did that actually come about? The whole beginning of hey, we're gonna do some animals. I mean, having gators is one thing in a in a little pond, but actually having big exhibits and homes for these animals, and exotic from all around the world.
Yeah, it's kind of been a snowball, and it has just grown and grown. And I think it goes back to the message out here. One is that we want our guests to experience, see, feel, touch, smell everything wild Florida has to offer, and to really get an understanding of what Florida used to look like 1,000 years ago. The second part of our message is we want you to make a connection with animals in general. I don't care if it's a native Florida bobcat or fox or raccoon or a lemur, a monkey, or a tropical bird. At some point, we hope that you see something that says wow to you, and you go home and say, I want to get involved, I'm interested, I'm concerned in some way about that animal.
And you did, and have brought home some of these animals to live with you for short periods of time.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like it, but we end up being the foster home or the nursery for a lot of these animals.
Well, it's understandable when you're passionate about it, and you have a deep appreciation for it. It wouldn't matter to you. At that point they become family.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see as we walk through the park that we love the animals, and we're concerned about them, and we constantly are finding ways for them to find new enrichment, and they know us too. You can tell that they love us, and it's definitely part of the family.
I would just say also some of the birds that you have are all donated.
Yeah, most of our birds are donated.
Macaws and cockatoos. Yeah, that's right. I did see those.
Well, I just thought it was hilarious. We walked up to one of the lemurs, and it recognized Sam. Absolutely. It ran over to the edge of the cage and raised up his arms because it likes to be scratched on the armpits.
Yeah, Leo.
And he knew Sam was coming and he was going to scratch him, so he got ready for it. So the animals are just so cool and so interactive. And can you talk about, there's a really cool program that you do, a Trainer for a Day program.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, that one has become very, very popular. I don't think we really understood how passionate some people are about animals, and we constantly found guests who went through the park, it got a little taste of the animal experience, and said, I want more. And so we developed this new product, a new tour that includes an airboat ride, a guided tour through the park where you're actually taking care of feeding, measuring, and working with the animals to some degree. And then it also includes some lunch at the end of it. And so that package, it really does it all.
Yeah, and it's very affordable. It's a lot more affordable than you might think, as well as the facility here. This gorgeous facility where you can come and get married and have an event or a convention, and it's really priced at a great price point.
Yeah, I would say as a day away from a conference or whatever, because like a lot of conferences, 2-3 days, they'll have an afternoon or a morning or late morning that you would go and do something else, and this should be one of those options to go and go do something outside of just like go get on a bus and go to downtown Disney or go to Universal or one of the theme parks. So I would definitely say that anybody should include it in their package of things to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We found that whether you're here for business or for leisure, at some point people say, I want to know what people in Florida are all about. What do the Floridians do? What do they eat? How do they play? What's the local culture all about? And that's what we provide for people. And even if you're here on a business trip at some convention and you're stuck in meetings, that's still, a perfect opportunity to come out and see what Florida's all about.
Absolutely. And Sam, can you take us back a little bit? I know you come from a very corporate background, and so how was all this born from that? It's a strange road that took us here, but so it started out with a desk job, and that kind of took me all over the world, and that was fun. But once I started a family, I wanted to move into something that allowed me to spend more time with my kids and at home. And so we moved out here to Florida and started doing real estate development. And somewhere along the line, real estate development turned into tourist attraction. And here we are. Wow. So just like that. And you have such a passion for animals. Is that something you were born with, or is it just grown on you since you've been here?
I was always the weird kid that instead of wanting a new bike, I wanted a ferret or a baby fox as a kid. And my parents thought I was weird and limited. They entertained it to a small degree, but never really satisfied my desire for different animals and birds and things like that. And so I think my nickname with my buddies in high school is Ranger Rick. And
well,
it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Worked out. Yeah. And really, about 5 years ago, Goldman Sachs came back and we said, hey, we've got this awesome spot. We want you to work with this new program and be a manager of this new operation. And at the same time, Wild Florida was on the table, and I had to choose between that route and the road less traveled here at Wild Florida. And the deciding factor was, where would my kids rather come visit me at work? My desk job at the bank or out here at Wild Florida? And this was the obvious choice.
Yeah. So you not only did you take the leap and do this major change, but you've been really successful at it. So can you tell people maybe what you think might have given you the edge and made the difference?
So we raised the bar in the industry, and I think that's been a real contributing factor to our success. Like I said, we wanted to be different than everybody else, and we wanted to have a level of quality that was new to the market. And word has spread quickly, and a lot of people are discovering us, even though we're out here in the middle of nowhere. It has really kind of spread rapidly in the industry.
And I would say you have a bit of a passion for it. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We love it.
Well, it's not the middle of nowhere. You have a road now.
That's true. It's a paved road. Paved road.
All roads lead to Wild Florida.
Yeah.
Krista, did you have anything else?
Well, tell everybody about the gators too, because we didn't talk about that very much. So.
Yeah. So we have there's close to 2,000 alligators out on the swamp that you can see on the airboat ride. But anyone who's been on an airboat tour before, they know that it's not a zoo, so we can't predict what's going to happen. And despite our best efforts to find them, sometimes they elude us, and that's the unfortunate side of the wildlife. We do our best, and in most cases we can find plenty of alligators. But just in case you didn't get enough, in the wildlife park we have hundreds of them that you can see, touch, feel, hold, take pictures with. You can even taste them at the Chomp House Grill. We wanted to provide that opportunity in case people wanted to just overdose on alligators. It's available to you. And in our pond, we have about 100 in our big alligator pond, ranging from 5 feet up to 13.5 feet. And most of those alligators come from the nuisance trappers here in Central Florida. And what that means is when an alligator ends up in someone's pool, their backyard, the school playground, the state requires the trappers to come in and remove it. We can't touch them or grab them or anything. And I know you're from Jersey.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to shoot them.
No,
so
I don't think we really get many gators up in Jersey.
Yeah, don't mess with them.
Maybe in the sewers of North Jersey.
So call the trappers, and the trappers come out and catch it. Now they are required to either euthanize that gator or relocate it to captivity. They can't take that gator and go release it out in the swamp somewhere else. Because once gators lose their fear of people, they can never undo that. And they become a problem. And so we take all of those nuisance trap gators and we buy them off of the trappers, and that's where the majority of our gators have come from. So we've essentially saved their life, and we feel like that's a pretty good story versus going out and capturing 100 alligators from the swamp and throw them in a cage.
Right. All right, well, with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, Sam, for your time and having us out here. We've had such a blast. It's 100 degrees out, and we are not our most glamorous self right now. But
I didn't feel that hot.
Joe doesn't even break a sweat, so it's okay. But we had
my
such
shirt does.
Yeah, we've had a great time. So thank you for having us, Sam.
Thanks for coming.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And just remember, this journey is yours. Enjoy each and every step. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Living the Dream podcast. We know there's a lot of great shows out there that you could be listening to, and we appreciate you taking the time to tune into ours. Remember to check us out online at livingthedreampodcast.com.
The greatest compliment you could give us is going to Stitcher Radio or iTunes and leaving us a rating and review. It helps us get the message out there to other dreamers.
It sure does. And until next time, I'm Krista Joy.
And I'm Joe Pardo. And remember, today's journey leads to tomorrow's dream.
If you can dream it, Mad Hatter Adventures can help make it happen. Mad Hatter Adventures specializes in everything from family trips, corporate travel, and last-minute getaways. Let Mad Hatter Adventures take the stress out of planning your trip and help save you money. There's no charge for their services, and they specialize in Disney vacations. Visit madhatteradv.com or give them a call at 1-844-M-HATTER today to find out more. Make all your travel dreams come true by calling 1-844-M-HATTER.
Is it spicy?
No, just dip it in that sauce, and it might be hot from coming out of the fryer, but
Joe's first taste of Florida Gator.
I'm not going to tell you anything of what it might taste like. You just tell me what.
A little hot.
It's hot.
Burn in your mouth?
No, I'm just trying not to let it burn my mouth.
Is it chewy?
It's a little chewy. Yeah, it's good.
What does it taste like? Chicken?
I don't know if it tastes like chicken. It's a little chewier than chicken would be.
Yeah, it is.
Like if it fell apart a little bit more, then it would be. I could see it being chicken.